everybody, and welcome back. It's your boy Pred here, and welcome back to Resident Evil 4 the Remake. In the last episode, we started the boss fight with Sadler. We're still in the boss fight with Sadler. Yeah, this guy is no joke compared to the previous game. So, hopefully this doesn't take long, but let's get back into it. Oh, no, you don't. Crap. God damn. There we go. Well, there goes his eye. Well, he's got his eyes back. Oh, come on, really? He's gonna just keep spewing black barf in me right now, isn't he? And there's like... God, don't... Come on. Come on. Crap. There we go. There we go. Was that it? I don't think it was. I definitely don't think it was. He's not dead. I guarantee you he's not dead. Told you! Holy shit!
I'm getting sick of your shit.
You're telling me, Leon. Well now, isn't that interesting? Great.
Finally, a look that suits you, Sadler. A monster in and out. Still, I need
Crap.
to stay short. It's not me. It's you.
This is it? just shooting the big, giant, glowy orange spot? How do you somehow make this even more anticlimactic?
Use this.
Of course. Vaya con Dios, motherfucker!
I'll give you a holy body.
Giggity. Ooh!
Ada, what the hell are you doing?
Nothing personal, Leon. Luis and I had an arrangement. Don't worry, I'll take good care of it. Bride's here. You coming?
I think we both know this is where we go our separate ways.
Haha.
I see.
Yeah, what did they do to you? I'm still wondering. Capcom, if you're watching this next time, just go Union.
We're gonna move on.
Cute.
Cute.
Until next time, Leon.
Leon! Where's she going?
Who knows?
I don't understand.
Who cares?
Gonna move. Island's gonna blow.
It's gonna what?
Ah, the classic Resident Evil trope of escape the self-destructing facility before everything goes boom. Gotta love that old chestnut. 2 minutes? Oh, Jesus.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, save it. Just so nothing happens. I doubt it, though. Actually, you know what? Before we go any further, let me just... Yeah, that's it.
We can go home.
We're not out of here yet.
Exactly. We can go home? Will the game let us, though? Who knows? Oh, Jesus.
Thanks.
Of course, Ashley. I like you this time. Oh, no, you don't.
Not attacking.
They're all dead.
Master's gone. It's over.
Yep. Come on. There we go. That's a pretty gruesome fate, actually.
All right.
I mean, it does make sense, but...
You like thrill rides? You're gonna love this.
Oh, boy. Oh, thank God you don't have to hold up to accelerate. Now it's just a separate button, like it should have been in the original! Right? Left. Right. Left. Up we go. Oh, shit. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ugh. Home stretch. Home fucking stretch. Don't. Crap. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You gave me basically no time to dodge that. Let's be fair with ourselves here.
You like thrill rides?
All right, here we go. Here we go. A little bit of scraping, it's okay. Oh, crap. Son of a... There we go. Oh boy. Shit. There we go, home stretch. Yes! Ha ha!
You alright?
I'm not sure, that was insane.
Oh, now it explodes.
Mission accomplished, right?
Mission accomplished. When you're home safe.
Thank you for saving me.
Don't mention it.
You know, I could put in a word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested.
You don't need me. You proved you could handle yourself. Even if you could use a lesson in knife safety. Come on. Let's go home.
Condor 1? Bruce to Condor 1, do you read me? Come in! I said come in! Is this thing even on? Leon! Leon, are you and Ashley alright? Where are you? Come on!
Well, now. I wonder if we're gonna get an after credit sequence like in the original. Oh, this is the original music. Kind of slightly remixed, but still. Well, no. Hmm. Hmm. Disappointing compared to the original. Like, you actually felt for those people back in the original, but this just...
Patch me through. I've obtained the amber.
Excellent.
Is that supposed to be Wesker?
What are you planning to do with this?
I do not pay you to ask questions. All you need to know is a new dawn is breaking. 100 will give their lives so that just one may live. I am expediting that change.
Who is this Steve Bloom knockoff?
We're talking millions of casualties.
Billions.
How ambitious. We're changing course now.
You're the boss. Interesting. I don't know what the hell that voice actor for Wesker is, but he's not very original. DC Douglas will always be Wesker in my opinion. This guy just doesn't cut the mustard. Nice Spanish music. So, that is the Resident Evil 4 remake. After suffering through 20... Oh. I'm just gonna let the song play.
Never ache for a place called home. Can't hold on so tight, gotta let it all go. I have a purpose, it's all that I need to help me find my way every day. Keep your eyes on the road ahead. Don't be drawn into the light or the shadows in your head. Keep your eyes on the road ahead and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back, 'cause I got a feeling in my bones that everything's gonna be fine. Yeah. Don't ever look back. Don't ever look back.
I don't think it's as good as Sod from Resident Evil 2.
And I learned how to win. But how do you fight when the enemy's within? Find your pride, go deeper inside for the fire that will light your way. The ones you trust can one day betray. You're the hunter and then you're the prey. You pay the cost, it all feels lost. Then you hear a voice inside you say, keep your eyes on the road ahead. Don't be drawn into the light or the shadows in your head. Keep your eyes on the road ahead and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back. Keep your eyes on the road ahead. Don't be drawn into the light or the shadows in your head. Keep your eyes on the road ahead and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back, 'cause I got a feeling in my bones that everything's gonna be fine. Yeah. Don't ever look back. Don't ever look back.
I don't know. I mean, the guy sings all right, and the instrumentation's pretty good, but some of these lyrics feel a bit kind of too generic inspirational, I would say. Definitely compared to Sod, I feel like this is the weaker of the of the songs. I'm still gonna let it play out, and then we'll get to the main menu, and then I can talk and kind of about this game. Since I wasn't expecting this, obviously. Also, I don't know why Capcom has decided to add songs to the Resident Evil credits. I mean, Gotilla and Rhodey from Resident Evil 7 was pretty solid. Again, like I said, Sod was very good as well. This is alright. Could be better. Yep, this is from the original as well. I love this part though, but after the song and the pre-credit sequence, why are you playing it now? This should be after we see what happens to the Ganados and, you know, all this other stuff. Like, seeing the destruction unfold at hand. That's what made the original ending so impactful and so emotionally resonant, was that this was playing after that little slideshow that was far more in clarity than whatever they presented here, and didn't have all the ambient lighting and stuff and the additional instrumentation to make it, you know, somehow more tragic. I still love this part though. Don't know why you needed to add the violin to it. Kind of says, okay, you're just gonna keep... You know what, I'm just gonna skip all the credits at this point, because I really don't care. Again, this is from the original as well. This is actually the song that plays when you first boot the game up. I don't know why you needed all this additional instrumentation, though. $20 hours. I am surprised I got a B rating. Holy shit. Probably because of the saves and the time, but in my defense... If you take care of the Death Star new game, you'll be able to purchase new weapons from the merchant, but you cannot achieve an S+ rank. Oh, I see. Alright. Then I probably shouldn't have spent all those spinals then. Good God. So... Now we're back. Time to give my thoughts on this game, I suppose. Because holy shit do I have a lot to say about it. Professional mode unlocked. Okay, so let me just turn down the audio a bit on this. Whew. How do I compartmentalize this game, in all honesty? Wow. Whew. Jesus. Oh boy, there's so much I want to say about this game, and I'm trying not to ramble on, and I'm trying not to, like, be redundant, but man, it's complicated. It's complicated, I will say this much. Let's start with the positives first. It still is a great looking game. I love a lot of the modern details they've done, even though I do think the art direction is a bit lesser than it was in the original. I still think it manages to be effective in its own way, both from a technical standpoint and from a stylistic standpoint. what else? The one thing I will say that I really do like over this game is Ashley's characterization compared to the original. In the original, she was annoying. She was whiny. She was the prototypical ball and chain damsel in distress who, if she wasn't being obnoxious in her helplessness, she was just being whatever. Now I really do like how they presented Ashley here. They made her feel vulnerable, but not to the point where she becomes a burden. She has a lot more scenes that focus on her. She has a lot more characterization to make her not feel as useless, I'm going to say. But she still is, as a woman in a bad situation that she doesn't belong to. And I got to give credit to the voice actress. She does a hell of a job conveying, what she needs to do with Ashley, and really does make this game made me want to keep her safe. I never felt like I was burdened by Ashley's presence. I actually gave a fuck about what was going to happen to her. And I very much appreciate that. So much. Especially compared to the original. When it does its own thing, or when it puts a completely new spin on a familiar location, I actually do think that it manages to be really effective. Like the scene, the fight against like the El Gigante in the castle where he's throwing boulders and you have to dodge. I actually think that's a really cool idea. The minecart chase, I like the minecart in the original just fine, but the minecart sequence in here is unbelievably fun. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. I definitely enjoyed the first knife encounter with Krauser, where it actually manages to give you a crash course on the pairing mechanics. I was a little bit rusty with the pairing mechanics, I'm not going to lie, but that really made me feel so much. That definitely felt a hell of a lot better than the fucking unfair QuickTime event bullshit in the original. I like the encounter with the Garrador. I think it's just as creepy, if not creepier, than the original is. The Regenerators. Good fucking God, the Regenerators. Holy shit. I don't know how you make the... Again, like I said, I didn't know it was possible to make those guys even more terrifying, but thanks, Capcom. I really appreciate it. I definitely enjoy the boss fight with Krauser a hell of a lot more than I did in the original. Both phases, I'll say that much. It definitely felt more like a test of skill. What else did they change from the original that I thought was actually really solid? I like the sequence where you actually play as Ashley. I didn't actually mind that as much as I thought I would. Trying to think what else. No, genuinely, I'm not being a smartass. I'm trying to think of what else. Because this... Like, I know I'm going to sound biased because I fucking love Resident Evil 4, the original, so much. Like I said at the beginning, it's top 5 favorite games, maybe even top 3. This had a lot to live up to. I don't think it does. Not 100%. The gameplay is a very mixed bag. I will say this much. I don't mind the idea of only having a couple of guns have like laser sights and all that sort of stuff, and to give more like aiming. My problem with it just feels like they wanted to make it more of a horror game. Fair enough. But I feel like, especially in the sections where they're just copying parts of the original from wholesale, like the fucking water room and the defense on the house and shit like that, it feels like they just ramped up the difficulty in a way where, it almost actively punishes you for not wrapping your head around the original, like the mechanics. For instance, like the emphasis on parrying and like knife combat and stuff like that, and being able to get more knives and all that sort of stuff. I don't have a problem with that. Why make the knives degradable, though? For challenge? You could argue that. But at the same time, you know, if you're not good with the knife pairing mechanics, and they are very finicky, I will say this much, you know, you're going to have a bad time. And for some reason, the contextual button presses for dodging seem a hell of a lot more glitchy and finicky than they did in the original. I don't know what it is, but there were moments where I was pressing that button for all it was worth. I was beating that thing like it was owing me money, and I still took a hit. Why make the body armor degradable? For challenge? I guess, but like that's kind of the problem, is that you want to make it an action horror game, and there's a way to do action horror really well. I think Dead Space does it really well. I think the original does it really well. You know, even if some people may be like a bit disconcerted with regards to like the whole horror title, Resident Evil 4 still is a horror game. It's a bit more Evil Dead style horror, apart from some genuinely creepy moments, but it's still a horror game. But it never made you feel helpless, I would say. But there are mechanics here where I just look at it like, you know, if you're gonna have weapon degradation, if you're gonna have fucking the crafting mechanic, which I really cannot stand at this game at all, if you're gonna have, you know, stun locking, if you're gonna have stealth sections, if you're gonna have all this stuff, you can't make it, it feels completely dissonant when you try and do the action set pieces that the original had, like the house, like the water room, like all these other high action, high tension things where you were fighting off against hordes and waves of enemies, but maybe it's just because you can move and shoot at the same time that they felt like it needed to be more difficult. Fair enough, but it almost feels like all the mechanics are conspiring to work against you. If this were a traditional horror game where it emphasized resource management, resource collection, and maybe it does compared to the original, that'd be one thing. But when you still have like big action set pieces and big bosses that require lots of ammo and all this other stuff, it really does feel like the game is punishing you, one, for not learning the mechanics that it wants to fast enough, and two, not thinking like 5 fucking steps ahead when they throw difficult encounters at you, and then you go into another encounter, it's like, well, shit, I'm not prepared for it. Like, I guess that's like the problem. You know, there are other elements like treasure crafting. Why make treasure crafting feel so diluted? You know, you had all these great, unique treasures in the original, but now it's literally just gem hunting. And just fitting gems into other gems and just hoping for the best. And it feels boring. It really does, because it almost feels like, you know, if you're basically just praying to RNGesus at that point just to get good stuff, or else you're just going to be selling things off at a loss. I don't think it works that well. I don't mind changing the economy system to where money is a lot harder to get, and therefore weapon upgrades are a lot harder to get. Therefore, you always feel underpowered to keep the horror. That's fine, but there's a way you could have done the treasure mechanics different. The big one for me, though, I think, is just the tone. I understand wanting to take the story more seriously. I understand wanting to make it feel more like a horror experience and not like the kind of, you know, goofy 80s B-movie kind of charm that the original had. But you gotta be able to execute it. There are elements that I like. I like Ashley's characterization a hell of a lot more in this than I do in the original. I like, you know, the expansion of the Los Illuminados cult, and you actually kind of delve more into their origins and ideas. It loses a little bit of mysticism, but I can let that slide. I think when when they wanted to enhance the horror aspects of the original, like the first encounter with the Garrador or the fucking Regenerators, like I said, or the Verdugo or moments like that, I think it actually works really, really well because you took really scary, effective moments and just made them that much more scary. But at the same time, there are moments in the presentation where I'm like, well, that just feels lesser. Like, you don't get to see Bator's Mendez transform compared to how you could in the original. That loses a bit of luster for me. You couldn't, in the original when, Sadler got shot, you had a good cutscene of him, like, actually, pushing the spent bullets out of his body and dropping them to really emphasize just how unstoppable he is. And in this one, it's like 5 seconds, blink and you'll miss it. You don't even know what happened. What else? I'm trying to think. Give me a second here. With regards to the tone. And the problem is, I feel like the game is trying to have its cake and eat it too. Like, okay, you want to play it more seriously. Why do you still have the goofy elements in there? Why do you still have the giant Sadler robot statue? Or Salazar robot statue? Why even have Salazar in the game at all? Salazar works in the tone of the original. He's squeaky voice midget Napoleon. He works for the goofy setting of that game. You can't take a character like that and expect us to play it straight and somehow make this guy seem like a legitimate threat, because he doesn't. The back and forth banter between Leon and Salazar was one of the best moments of the original, and in this, because Salazar is more serious now, now he wants to do this. And when the game does try humor, it's puns, it's MCU style quips, it's meta jokes and shit like that. You didn't need to do all that sort of stuff. And honestly, I think it's more of a detriment to the game than it is a positive. If you want us to take the story seriously, fine. Get rid of the goofy shit, though. I'm not saying you can't have levity in the game. I'm not saying you can't have moments of just lightheartedness to break up the unrelenting grim tone. You need that in anything, but you can't have both. You either got to play it super, super serious, or you got to lean more into the camp a little bit. They're trying to do both, and I don't think it works. Other things, I don't like how the bosses just talk throughout it. Really, you don't need bosses to talk throughout boss fights at all. I really don't care at this point, especially when I have to repeat the same fucking dialogue. Going back to the gameplay and the comparisons to the original, some of the things, like you've seen, just feel bullshit. The fucking house defense section, the goddamn water room, the wrecking ball section, shit like that was already bad. Somehow Capcom made it worse. But that's not to say that all the new shit is good either. Like the fucking battle against Salazar, I hate that so much, infinitely worse. And again, there are moments where I look at it, it's like, okay, you get rid of the goofy robot chasing you. That's cool. I don't mind that. Why get rid of the U3 boss fight, though? Why get rid of one of the genuinely scariest parts of the original? For pacing? I don't know. It's not like this game is short enough as it is. Just throw it in there. Make it really cool. But no, keep the fucking water room. Why not? And it doesn't help that the voice acting is really fucking hit and miss. Like, the guy who plays Leon, he's the same guy who was from Resident Evil 2, the remake. I don't think he does as good a job in this as he did in Resident Evil 2, and I think that compared to Paul Mercer, he is a little bit, but I still think he does a very good job. The woman who plays Ashley, I think, is a hell of a lot better than Carolyn Lawrence was back in the original. The guy who played Luis, I was kind of iffy on him, but he grew on me eventually. The guy who voices Torres Mendez, he's pretty cool. But then you've got characters like, I don't know what the fuck they did with Krauser and his raspy voice. I really do wish that he could have had a deeper voice. You know, he just seems lesser compared to Jim Ward, and it's a shame because Krauser has far more characterization here than he did in the original. I've already bitched about Ada's voice actress enough. I'm not going to keep bitching about it. All I'm just going to say is, Capcom, for the love of God, please give like a re-recorded voice pack so I don't have to keep listening to her, or just fucking hire a different actress. I swear and put it in as a free update. I swear to God. The guy who plays Sadler, he's hit and miss. The guy who plays Salazar, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Mike? What the hell happened to Mike? Oh, God. You know, but it's conflicting. And I guess I'm rambling on about this because this is a conflicted game. I feel like there are genuine moments of brilliance here. I think when it expands on what the original was good at, or when it does its own thing and deviates from the original, it's a brilliant masterpiece. But then there are moments where it deviates too much and it becomes frustrating, or it sticks too closely to the original and it feels derivative, or it loses the subtle details that the original had, and you know, I honestly would like this game a hell of a lot more if half of it was new material. I feel like, in the effort to not piss anyone off, Capcom was trying to go as closely to the original as possible and not try and deviate too much from it to avoid pissing off the old guard. I personally feel like, and this is just me speaking, I personally feel like I would have preferred that. I would have preferred if Capcom had like half of the game be faithful to the original and half of the game be its own thing, because then it would give it its own identity. Then I wouldn't be comparing it to the original as much. Then I wouldn't be pointing out all the flaws and all the issues compared to the original. I could just judge it on its own merits, and I could look at it and be like, hey, that's actually pretty solid. Yeah. So the question is, do I like this better than the original? Hell no. Hell no. I still love the original RE4. It's still in my top 5, maybe even top 3 video games of all time. You know what this is? I'll tell you exactly what this comparison is. This is gonna be a weird comparison, but bear with me for a second. The original Resident Evil 4 was the 1999 version of The Mummy, you know, with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. It's a dumb, cheesy action film that, if you analyze it for even a second, doesn't make a whole lot of sense and is really stupid. But there's fun in it. There's brilliance in it. There's little subtle details that make it all add up. And there is a genuine sense of horror and dread to it that actually does manage to be effective in some regards. That's the original Resident Evil 4. This is sort of like the Tom Cruise remake of The Mummy, although not nearly as much of a fucking flaccid dumpster fire as that was, where it tries to play it more serious. It tries to bring it more into like the modern age, brings it more into like the present day as we see it, and tries to get you to take this story more seriously. Again, like I said, it's not nearly as bad as the Tom Cruise version, certainly not, but that's kind of where it is. And, you know, me personally, I'll always go for Resident Evil 4, the original, because, you know what, it's a fun game. I can pop it in at any time, in any mood, at any place, on any platform, still breeze through it, still go through it, have fun. I mean, I've studied that game inside and out. That's why whenever I say like my favorite games of all time, it's a game that I can always go back to, play, and still enjoy with. Resident Evil 4 is that. This, on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, it's really tough. I'd really have to be in a particular mood to play through this, and even then, I'll still always compare it to the original in some way, shape, or form. Is it a bad game, though? No, actually. I think from a technical perspective, in a vacuum, this is a very, very solid game. And you know what? I fucking needed this with regards to Resident Evil, especially with regards to the last two playthroughs I played through, having to suffer through Resident Evil 5 again, and the fucking Resident Evil 3 remake that was just a steaming pile of dog shit. My God, that game was fucking terrible. I don't care who likes it, who tells me I'm wrong, whatever. That game fucking blew chunks. This is not like those at all. Despite my frustrations, despite my misgivings, it's a very, very, very solid game, and it's a very solid remake. I don't think it's as good as the Resident Evil 2 remake, certainly, if we're talking modern Resident Evil, but it's still a good, solid fucking game nevertheless. So the question is, do I recommend this? I say yes, but with a caveat. To anyone who has played through the original first, play through this. Compare the two, contrast the two, see how it is. To anyone who's played this first, go back and play the original. You can get it for $10 on the PSN store, or like $5 or $10 on the PSN or Xbox or store or Steam or whatever. Go play through that and compare and contrast, To anyone who's never played either, play the original first, then play through this as a direct comparison. And I guess the problem I have is just there are going to be people who look at the old game and are like, oh, it's almost 20 years old. Oh, it has all these weird mechanics to it. Oh, it doesn't look nearly as good. And just dismiss the original entirely and claim that this is superior because of the advances in technology and allegedly the advances in gameplay or something. And that's not fair to the original. I'm not saying that the original Resident Evil 4 is perfect. There are plenty of sections of Resident Evil 4 that either I can't stand or can barely tolerate. I think it is a bit too goofy for its own good. There are moments where I'm just like, what the fuck, man? But I still enjoy it nevertheless. The quick time events are fucking annoying and just a product of their time. And there are moments of obvious unpolished there. And I say that more as just as a victim of Father Time rather than a victim of genuinely bad gameplay. But I still enjoy it nevertheless. And you know what? If you play through both of these games and you prefer the original and you're like, I like the tone that it goes for, I like how it's more serious, or I think that the gameplay changes are actually really solid, or, I just think that this is a better overall experience than the original. I think it expands on what the original did, and I think it polishes it up. You know what? I'm not going to do... You know what? You do you. I'm not being sardonic or dismissive when I say that. You know what? I respect that. I respect that. I will always prefer the original Resident Evil 4, but I respect what you say nevertheless. But if you're going to be one of these guys who's going to be like, well, I like this a lot better because it looks nicer and it has all this other stuff, just take your opinion and stick it up your ass sideways because it holds no value. So... yeah, that's all I can really say, man. Resident Evil 4, the remake. And these are just my thoughts on it. Maybe, and whenever after I've done playing a game like this, I really have to kind of fester and really let everything kind of soak in. Maybe in a couple months' time I may see this as better than the original. Maybe in a couple months' time I may see this as an absolute disgrace. Maybe in a couple months' time I'll say it's on par with the original, if not necessarily triumphant over it. I don't know. I really am going to have to let it stew and fester and sit for a while, because that's just how it is. But my initial thoughts are, if you want my initial thoughts compartmentalized, it is simply this. Objectively speaking, this is a very good game. A solid, excellent remake that manages to be its own thing while paying tribute to the original. However, compared to the original, I prefer this game less. For the inconsistent tone, the scattershot nature of some of the gameplay elements, moments that are borderline infuriating to go through, and a genuine lack of, not genuine, but general lack of specialness, I presume. Like, Resident Evil 4, the original, was special. It's special for a fucking reason. There's a reason why we talk about that game nearly, 18 years after it got released, because there's just no other game like it. Whether or not it led to the dork age of Resident Evil with Resident Evil 5 and 6, you can argue that till the cows come home, but there's a reason we still revere it to this day. This, I feel like a lot of the praise is a bit presumptuous, I would say. People saying it's better than the original, it's fantastic and all this stuff. I feel like that's, maybe it's not being presumptuous. Maybe there is genuineness to that. But me personally, man, I still like the original more. I'm not saying this is a bad game. It's a very solid game. I do think there are moments of brilliance here. I do think there are genuine moments of greatness. But I'm always going to prefer the original. Sorry to say that. But I still recommend playing through this game. If you've played through the original, play through this. If you haven't played the original, go play the original, then play this. If you've played whatever. I still think this is a game worth picking up. And who knows, maybe if I play through more of it, I might feel more positive about it. But as of now, I can acknowledge it's solid. I just prefer the OG version, and I probably am going to prefer the OG version overall. The OG is very special to me, holds a special place in my heart. There are moments where it comes close, but not close enough. So that's all I have to say. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this series. Thank you all so much for watching my Let's Play, my playthrough of Resident Evil 4. And I know there are moments of frustration and me dithering about and me dying and all that, but I still hope you guys enjoyed it. I really genuinely hope you guys enjoyed it, because even despite all the bullshit that went through, I did have some fun making this playthrough, and I hope you guys have some fun watching these videos as well. So, thanks. Genuinely, thanks. I really appreciate that. If you like this, go check out my other Resident Evil live stream / Let's Plays on my YouTube channel. And, what's coming up next? Probably going to be the Dead Space remake. Maybe it might be Resident Evil 8, since I still haven't played through that yet. Could be any number of projects down the pipeline. You don't know from Pred. But I know I'm going to promise a Dead Space remake right here and right now, and I'm probably going to play through Resident Evil 8 in the future. So guarantee those two, and the Silent Hill 2 remake when it comes out. But those two, look out for it. When? Can't say. But I'm always open to it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this series. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And I hope you have a pleasant rest of your day. Bye!